If your Amazon KDP book just isn't selling, you don't need another course or magic keyword trick. You need truth. So in this video, I'm going to show you what's really holding your listing back from ranking and selling on Amazon and how you can fix it fast. And to do that, I'm going to go through multiple real listings from Amazon, from our KDP community members, and spot the common mistakes, and walk you through the changes that should be made to start increasing sales and organic rankings. And just quickly, in case you're new to this channel, my wife Cleo and I have sold over 240,000 books between our different accounts. And we have a free authors Facebook group with over 230,000 members in it. And with our self-publishing Titans tools, we have helped over 300,000 authors publish their books on Amazon. So that's just about us. And let's look at this first book here. So this book was published last month, so still fairly fresh. And it has not gotten any sales yet because there's no bestseller rank and no sales estimates. So let's figure out why. So we'll start by looking at the title here. So it says the Oxford Training Methods, Unlock Mental Power and Physical Strength in just 4 exercises. So the title is okay. I guess I don't know what Oxford Training is, so that is a bit of a misunderstood word. And one thing is that if you have words that are not commonly known by other people, it might not be the best thing to have in your title, because ideally your title and subtitle should have easy words that all readers and potential buyers can understand, because misunderstood words can lead to less click-through rates and less purchases because people are just confused and then they scroll right past it. So having a word that is potentially hard to understand or most people don't know right at the beginning of the title is definitely not the best thing to have. And just as important here also is having keywords. So we have a high content book, which would allow some nice long tail keywords in the title or subtitle. But here we don't have any of those. We have good keywords. It doesn't look spammy or anything like that, but we just don't have something that people are searching for on Amazon. I mean, maybe someone's looking for physical strength or mental power, but not as likely. And it's also not a targeted exact match long tail keyword. So I'll just show you an example. So if this is a workout book, then you can just type that in, and then the self-publishing Titans Chrome extension will open up. And in case you're not familiar with that, you can just go to the Google Chrome store and install this extension right here. And this replaced the 2 prior earlier extensions and is now all in one extension. And here you'll see all of the Amazon search suggestions, the estimated monthly search volume, the exact amount of search results, aka your competitors, as well as a domain score and an opportunity score. So ideally we find something that has a demand and opportunity of at least 5 or higher. And that would be good signals that we have a nice niche with low enough competition, but good enough search volume to give you the best chances to rank on page 1. So that's what I would be looking for to have in your subtitle, and definitely also your 7 backend keywords. So now the next thing I want to look at is how many pages you have. And here it only shows 50 pages. So for a high content book like this is extremely low. And I would suggest that you should double the pages. And this could easily be done just by different formatting of your book and adding more images into it and other things like that. You could also have some bonuses that you didn't have before to beef it up, like meal plans or some kind of workout routine or just different exercises just in the back of the book. You could also have a glossary of different terms for the body and diet and exercise that people might not know about. Just different things just to add more value and make it seem more meaningful, because a little booklet of 50 pages might not be the best experience for someone. Obviously, this doesn't have to be a huge deal, but if you can make it longer, it would just be better. And it would also just help you get better reviews because there's more perceived value in the book. So that's just my thoughts on that. And then this book is 5 by 5 by 8.5 inches, so it's also kind of small. I'm also not sure that this is the best size for a high content book like this. I would say that this should at least be 6 by 9 as the smallest size. This would feel a little bit small for these kinds of books, and I'm sure if you look at competitor books, this would not be a common size and probably be the smallest out of them all. So when it comes to publishing a book and choosing a book size, I would also always recommend that you look at the competitors and see what is the most common book size that they're using, and then going with that same thing because it's already working and proven to be successful. So this would be another thing that could be blocking sales. Now looking at the cover, overall it looks clean, but there's a few things I think we could change and improve. Firstly, obviously the top part, if you can see that here, it's just totally blending into the Amazon background. So it makes it look slightly odd. And having the author name at the top is also not necessarily the best thing. The only time this might be a good idea is if you're really, really famous. But if you're not famous, then I would suggest having the author name at the bottom and rather having the title at the top, which might be more important and more insightful. Now, the other thing here is this looks like a high content book kind of cover, but it doesn't communicate to me that this is physical strength and exercises. So if this is about exercising, I would probably have a fit couple just so it's inclusive for more people. Or if you're targeting men, then a kind of fit person, kind of the ideal avatar, just so it looks a bit more fitness and power and strength-like. So that would be my feedback on the cover. The images is more optional, but for sure I would fix the top, just so not blending into the Amazon background because it just looks a little bit odd having a floating author name. Now looking at the back cover, we have kind of the same thing. It just looks torn because the rest just blends in with the Amazon page. And if you do have exercises and things like that, then what I would probably do is maybe show some of them just so you can see what a person might be learning and just to make it more likely for someone to be interested and want to buy the book, just so they can see a little bit of details of what they might learn here. Now looking at your description, I like the layouts. You did the spacing really nice. I like the 5 bullet points and gave it space from the top and the bottom. The only thing I would change here is removing one of these spaces. We don't need 2 empty lines. And if you do that, you can probably get this to show up without having to click the read more button. So that's something I would change, but otherwise you have a nice introductory line here. You have a call to action to buy your book. You have the 5 bullet points. So all of that is great. Definitely really good job on the description here. Moving along to the A+ content, really well done for having A+ content in the first place. So that's great. I kind of like the abstract black and white design. That looks kind of cool and refreshing. I like that you're showing that you have 4 exercises, 15 minutes. But the only thing missing here then is what kind of exercises. I would probably show the images right at the top because that might be one of the most important things that someone will want to see in your A+ content. Looking at this image, that's okay. I don't know what that communicates. And then looking at these numbers, just a side point, I would probably fix the formatting so you don't have the 7 so small and the 9 unless there's a reason. But without knowing the reason, it looks slightly odd having small numbers in between. But since this is repetitive for all the odd numbers, maybe there is a reason. But I would consider maybe improving that look. But that's a really minor point in just my personal opinion here. Okay, so here you're showing some of these exercises, which is great. Okay, so I see 3 different exercises, but you mentioned 4. I guess I'm curious why we only show 3 and not 4. I would show all 4 of them. And since these are illustrations, you could even consider showing 4 small images here, just to start teasing at the exercises as well and get a quick idea of what this is all about. But other than that, I think you did a great job here. It looks nice and clean. I like the colors. I like the designs. So overall, I think you did great there. Looking at your categories that are showing personal transformation, self-help, that's also really good. This is important because Amazon uses the categories to further understand what the book is about. And it also uses it for the Amazon search algorithm and ranking your book. So you definitely want to have a relevant category. Here you have a good image of yourself. This is good. This looks high quality. And we also have a long description. So that's great. And we have lots of reviews. So overall good. I think the main thing just to fix here is the keywords that are probably missing in your 7 backend keywords. And I would fix the cover, at least the top parts for sure, just to make that not look like it's floating. But the main thing is definitely your keywords, and I wish you best of luck and hope that really helps you. Let's go right into the next book here. So the interesting thing is that each book will have different mistakes and missed opportunities. So each book can be a great learning curve and learning experience for everybody watching. So this book, unfortunately, has never gotten a single sale because we can see there's no bestseller rank, and it's been a few months since it's been published. So let's figure out why. So the title says Little Muslima Easy Coloring Book. So a couple points here. One, we didn't capitalize the word book, but we capitalized the rest. So that's just not correct and not consistent. And when it comes to your title, you definitely want to have a professional, clean, and consistent look. So definitely want to fix that. And for small spelling mistakes or typos and things like that, you can also contact the Amazon support system, and they would be allowed to update the title for you. And in most cases, they will do that. So when it is a true typo or mistake, just contact them, they can fix that. But the even bigger mistake or problem that we have here is you're targeting a really big niche and we want to kind of niche down more. So easy coloring book is okay. So basically when you're using this Chrome extension, you will see all these search suggestions from Amazon. You will see the estimated search volume, the search results, a demand score, and opportunity score. So ideally we find a nice keywords that has a demand score of at least 5 or higher and a opportunity score of 5 or higher. And then that should give you a niche that is easy enough to rank on page 1 because most likely it will have a good amount of search results and not too many, and a good search volume where there's enough demand for this niche. So you can type in different keywords and see different results until you find a good niche, and then that should be in your title or subtitle, and that will definitely help you. And then this title is also really short, so we can also add a few more words, just make it more descriptive, make it more interesting and informative. You can say it has 50 coloring pages. You can say the page size, or just interesting things about the book. So this is probably the main reason we're not getting sales. Looking at the cover looks nice. The colors are nice. The only thing I could say is that this person is holding a pencil. So that's the only thing that doesn't really represent a coloring book. I guess also overall this doesn't look like a coloring book itself, but the cover design is clean, it's nice. It looks professional, so overall it's not the biggest problem. And then the most important thing here for your cover is that coloring book is in small text, but it's actually most important words on the cover, because just looking at the cover, if there was no text, nobody would guess that this is a coloring book. So you want to make the word coloring book really, really big, just so people can instantly know that this is a coloring book, and then the image here is just the theme for it. So when they are browsing on a cell phone on a really small screen, they probably wouldn't even be able to read this text easily, or maybe not at all. So you're definitely not getting clicks because of that. So I would change that. This A Little Muslima could be smaller text, and then coloring book could be huge text, and I think that would further help you. Looking at the back cover, this is nice. I like to be showing example pages, so that's great. I would probably just update this black text here. It doesn't look as nice as this here. I would make it the same style of color and font. Then it's also more consistent, but it will also be easier to read. So that's the only thing I would change there. Looking at your description, I like that you have bullet points. The only thing I would change is that we're missing some bullet points and a user has to click on the read more button. So I would move these bullet points just below the top line here, and then everybody can see them without clicking read more button, because not every shopper will click on that button. And the only other thing you can add at the very bottom here is a quick call to action for someone to buy the book now. But otherwise, I think this looks okay. So moving along to your A+ content. So great for having A+ content in the first place. The only thing I would recommend here is that you should be consistent with your fonts. Having this cloud font doesn't match the title and the earlier text, so it feels slightly out of place. And then also we have different color scheme here as on the cover. So I would probably also make that a little bit more consistent. I think it will look nicer and just match the theme more. Now, the other thing I will say here is that this looks like a really thick and fat book. And this also looks like 8.5 by 11 instead of a square book. And here on the cover, we can see that this is a square book. And here it says it's 8.5 by 8.5. So this doesn't represent that. So if someone sees this and they're kind of spaced out and they buy a book, and now they're expecting a tall book, not a square book, that could also lead to bad reviews. So whatever you show on Amazon, on the cover, in your description, and the A+ content, you want to make sure that it's fully true and actually it represents what you are selling. So I would find another book that is square, just so we are fully consistent and truthful, and just avoid any bad reputations and reviews. Otherwise, this looks good. I would just move these icons a little bit higher just so we're not touching the text. Makes it just slightly harder to read. But this is really great, really important. And for coloring books or puzzle books or activity books, the most important thing with the A+ content is definitely the coloring pages and not anything else. So these are fine, but this is really the most important thing. So you could even have more sections showing even more pages. But otherwise, this is okay. You do have a profile image here and a description, which is great, but we don't have any reviews. So if anyone's struggling to get reviews, you can also check out the Self-Publishing Titans Advanced Reader Copy Service to get your first readers and reviews. You can also look at any other alternative. There's multiple out there, just whatever suits your needs the most. So that would be my feedback on this book. For anyone else that is new to KDP and wants free resources and free tools and free training, you can just go to selfpublishingtitans.com/free. I'll also have a link down below in the description. And for anyone else that wants a book review for free, you can also go to selfpublishingtitans.com/review and then submit your book to me right here, and I would love to help you as well. Otherwise, if you have gotten anything out of this video, please leave a comment down below to help us with the YouTube algorithm. And I make these videos every single day, so make sure to come back tomorrow. All right, bye.